2024, and we've already played so many amazing PS5 games, we've no choice but to take a hammer to our existing top 10 best PS5 games and start afresh. The rule we've set is only games that have launched with or after PS5 are included, so no PS4 games with subsequent PS5 releases to keep things simple. That doesn't mean you can't show all your love for the director's cuts of Death Stranding and Ghost of Tsushima, as well as any other of your PS5 favourites that didn't make our list. In the comments though. From age-old classics reimagined for the 4K age to new bug-blasting multiplayer obsessions, let's take a look at the stories that have defined the PS5 generation so far. You know that bit in every open-world game where you're spat out the linear tutorial area and faced with the enormity of everything you can explore for the first time? Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is that moment, projected over 100 hours of unrestrained fan service. The dev team at Square Enix are really stretching their legs now they've cut loose from Remake's Midgar leash, bombarding you with vista after minigame after climactic boss fight. Combat has barely changed from the first game, that is to say it's still an indulgent cocktail of punching, shooting and flashy finishes powered by a semi-turn-based JRPG motor, but the stage on which these battles play out is so much more vibrant and varied than before. The headline addition is Synergy, which lets two party members team up and tag team enemies to dazzling effect. There's substance to this style too. Rebirth is constantly reinforcing the relationships between its cast members and by extension between its cast and you. So watching Aerith pop Barrett's sunglasses on before unleashing overkill on some poor frog will make your heart swell in conjunction with your EXP. As a fan of the original Final Fantasy VII, rarely a moment passed in Rebirth where I wasn't either grinning ear to ear or sobbing my heart out. It's captured the light of the original and refracted it through the prism of PS5 to produce a breathtaking rainbow of an RPG. A game with rare energy and soul that you need to play even if you've never even heard the word chocobo.
Further world-ending stakes make our list next, with God of War Ragnarok continuing the story of Kratos and Atreus as they face the impending end of life as they know it. Ragnarok is coming, bringing with it the wrath of Asgard as the realms prepare for the battle to end all battles. Yet again, Kratos is faced with the weight of war on his expertly carved pauldrons, braving the 9 realms to find legendary weapons, make mythological allies, and naturally, not lose his rag whilst adventuring with his surly teenage son. For all the praise we've heaped on Ragnarok previously here at Access, I think it's impossible to understand its power without playing for yourself. The ingredients are all there. Satisfying, crunchy combat and incredible storytelling are a given, but it's the measure and performance that really make this something special. That the free Valhalla DLC offers even more God of War bang for your hack silver, where you explore Kratos' dark past in Greece and his perceptions of the Norse realms he's explored so far, is just the cherry on top.
Talking of strained father-son relationships, it's time for Tekken 8, aka Daddy Issues the game. The Mishima clan have been working through their beef since the beginning of PlayStation history. We may have gone from the blocky graphics and stiffer controls to searing 4K looks and controls to suit every level of expertise, but the core principle of decking your bad dad in epic fights remains the same. And trust me when I say Tekken 8 is as Tekken gets. The story mode follows Jin and friends fighting against, well, anyone they bump into, in a quest to beat some sense into Kazuya. There's an arcade quest that not only pays homage to Tekken's arcade past, but subtly teaches you the game's in-depth tactics, readying you for local and online scraps. And when there are no more friends or strangers left to humiliate, you can fight an AI ghost based on your own playstyle. You got the grit to beat yourself? How very existential. Or you could swap trouncing for bouncing and head to the beach and play Tekken 3's beloved minigame Tekken Ball. Or customize your fighters so they look like other brilliant video game characters. I think Alex's Leon Kennedy is my favourite. The king of Iron Fist Tournament. More like the king of PS5 fighting games, am I right? If you own a PlayStation, then you've undoubtedly heard of The Last of Us as one of the defining stories in gaming. The Last of Us Part 1 could also easily be on this list, but it's The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered that I want to focus on for the rest of this entry. Picking up years after Joel's catastrophic decision, the strained relationship between him and a now adult Ellie is markedly different to the one we're used to, paving the way for an intense study of the toxic influence of revenge. Oh, it gets pretty dark. The remastered release channels PS5 techno magic into the story, delivering haptic feedback and even more glorious visuals, somehow, alongside a suite of essential behind-the-scenes goodies. Listen to the audio commentary, or play lost levels for insight into how the game was built, or you can hop into No Return for endless roguelike runs that test your combat capability. AKA that have you chucking medkits into letterboxes while mods make it rain Molotovs or stop your guns from working. And if that sounds intense, then I have 3 words for you. Invisible Enemies mod. Yeah, it's just as horrifying as it sounds.
From invisible enemies to very visible, very romanceable heroes then, it's Baldur's Gate 3. That was a bad segue, but I'm powering through anyway. This masterpiece of a fantasy RPG is all the euphoria, heartbreak, and mania of classic tabletop gaming in a vibrant slice of Dungeons & Dragons, complete with spectators, owlbears, and unhinged genie cheesemancers, as all good tabletop quests should be. Baldur's Gate 3 is a triumph of crafting your own personal story, with every conversation led by your decisions and subsequent dice rolls. Whether you smash your way through goblin hordes or charm them to your side comes down to the D20, but you can manipulate your chances with plenty of fun modifiers along the way. Become a smooth-talking barbarian out to charm all your enemies, or a surface-dwelling drow far from the embrace of Lolth, out to squash a wily tadpole wriggling around your brain, out to turn you into a squid-faced tyrant. The beauty of Baldur's Gate 3 is that it is so many experiences in one. Mostly a Shadow Heart dating sim, if you're me, but there's other good stuff in there too, I promise.
If you are looking for realism, then Gran Turismo 7's painstakingly detailed real driving simulator is about as close as you can get. You can practically smell the expensive Ferrari leather as you admire fancy cars in your dream garage, or work on transforming beaters into lean, mean racing machines. Though I'd be less inclined to sniff whatever's been going on in those seats, to be fair. Uncompromising in its approach to immersion, Gran Turismo 7 is a joy to look at, from the tiny drops of rain dynamically moving across your windshield to the shiny ray-traced road reflections in the rims of your tyres, as well as being totally fluid when you're whipping across racetracks. Travel across the world to become a champion and find your line in neck-and-neck showdowns, or focus on photography and design for gorgeous personalised creations. My favourite way to play this game is to get up close and personal in VR though. I am not a petrol head, but this really threatens to make me one every time I hop behind the wheel.
I'd ask for a drum roll, but From Software's Goliath of a fantasy RPG, Elden Ring, loads up with one by default.
Rise now, ye tarnished.
Pretty fitting, considering every trip to the lands between is such a mind-blowing event. Here, you are tarnished, out to find the titular Elden Ring by defeating gigantic, impossible enemies. And plenty of small ones too, actually, with your trusty spirit steed, Torrent. From T-Rex-looking dogs lurking in the red barrens of Caelid to mighty dragons swooping down out of nowhere, every battle is intense, grand, and not easily forgotten. What makes Elden Ring so different from other From Software titles, though, is its open world. Rather than following a linear path until you get stuck and need to grind to level up, you can instead head to another biome to get your head kicked in by new beasties instead. What a treat! Caves, dungeons, castles, manors, volcanic wastelands, sprawling cities, all peppered with battles and secrets to be found in the most unexpected of places. I mean, just look at how gorgeous this whole underground city is! From Software's Demon's Souls also debuted with the PS5, and Bluepoint's gorgeous remake deserves a shout out here too. But we just want to give Elden Ring a moment to shine like the beautiful Erdtree leaf it is. So pretty.
What are you playing, stranger? I'll answer for you, just so I can get the right answer. Resident Evil 4. Wow, what a great choice. A seminal survival horror in 2005 on PS2. The same is true again with 2023's amazing PS5 remake, where Leon S. Kennedy is out to kick some serious ass. And face, and just about anything he can reach with his kicky little legs. The rookie from Resident Evil 2 is now a skilled government agent sent to a European village to find the president's missing daughter, Ashley Graham. Unsurprisingly, her kidnappers aren't the friendliest bunch, infected with a virus which makes them incredibly violent, very resistant to bullets, and also it somehow makes them grow a tentacle head, which is very annoying and gross. Mastering the line between body horror and atmospheric scares, then tearing them apart with frenetic fight sequences, this is a game unlike anything else out there, unafraid to get in your face and force you to burn through bullets and first aid spray relentlessly if you want to survive. It's absolutely brilliant, quite frankly, and if you haven't played it yet, there's only one question left. Where have you been? Bingo? A very different action experience for our next pick. You'll use more bullets in a single mission than Leon fires in an entire campaign. Helldivers 2 obviously values fun. Its barrage of Starship Troopers-style messaging, extolling the virtues of Super Earth, managed democracy, and dying while blowing things up makes that very clear. But underneath all the saluting and shouting is a challenging, carefully tweaked co-op shooter that requires proper coordination, proper tactics to survive. Stratagems enable players to cool down power-ups, weapons, supplies, massive orbital strikes using simple codes. The thonk of incoming ordnance is undeniably badass, but the first time you're forced to input a code under pressure from an approaching bug horde, the hook of Helldivers 2 becomes clear. You need all this hardware because the game is tough, grounded in just enough ways to give combat a lethal edge. Friendly fire is difficult to avoid in the chaos of war. Aiming is wayward unless you stand your ground as enemies approach, and those enemies move just as fast as you do. Once you're overwhelmed, it's difficult to recover. As difficulty ramps, only teamwork and advanced loadouts give you any hope against overwhelming numbers of bugs and automatons, building the foundations for something truly special. Frantic tactics thrashed out with friends, glorious victories, inevitable recriminations, and the tireless drama of fending off hordes while desperately waiting for your dropship to arrive. Finally, the gorgeous, haunting extraterrestrial action of Returnal rounds off our list, where you'll work to try and break Selene free of a never-ending loop on a hostile planet. Every death resets and changes Selene's path through Atropos, throwing up new encounters and arenas to battle through for her to make it to the other side. As much as frenetic combat is the shiny centre of Returnal, the layers of story that wrap around it are what make you want to come back time and time again. Why is Selene here? Where even is here? How did this time loop begin? What is the White Shadow? And most importantly, why is Selene's house on an alien planet no other human has ever landed on previously? That is one seriously dedicated moving company. Returnal is equal parts challenge and mystery, both feeding into each other to drive you deeper into Atropos's dark history. And if you ever think you've perfected your ability to slice up alien dogs throughout the game, there's always the Tower of Sisyphus, an endless mode that really puts your combat prowess to the test. And there we go. Those are our picks for the top 10 best PS5 games you can play right now. Although it's by no means exhaustive, so please let us know your favourites in the comments section below. What honourable mentions would you add? Don't forget to subscribe for more PlayStation goodness.